If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Let's get the show started. Welcome, Mr. Dante, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the pen power. Mr. Dante, you're on.
He's a showman.
Hand, people, come on. Show the love for Dante. All right.
Glad to be here with you. Molto contento.
Very happy.
So, Mr. Tony, why don't you go ahead and help Mr. Dante and take it from here?
Well, I think all of us, I think all of us here know who Dante is. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Los Angeles. I know Frank has worked shows. Dante's been there, and we're all excited. We've been looking forward. We planned this meetup for a couple of months, I think it was, and I know your time is valuable. It's late right now for you, Dante, and we're happy that you can join us. And really, I was excited to allow you to visit with our group. I think some more people will be showing up here shortly to talk about your philosophy when you design a pen, your history, and who you are in the pen world. And so we're all happy to be here. I think everyone can. We have people from Canada. Atlantis is from Canada, and all over the United States. So I guess what we need to do is allow you, Dante, to introduce yourself, or maybe those that might not know who you are.
Absolutely. Tony, you know very well my story, but for those that who don't know, I'm Dante. I've been, working all my life in pens. In the beginning, I was just a shop owner. And then I joined my friend Luigi and we opened Visconti. And since 1988 until 2016, I've been the man in the company. I was doing practically everything, even if I was able to employ 35 persons. But I was the soul behind any creation of Visconti. My friend Luigi left the company in 2005. He sold the share to a sheikh that was also a shareholder. I lost the majority. And in 2016, the sheikh told me, I want to do myself. I said, go ahead and do. And in less than 1 month, Pinagge offered me a very nice accommodation to build, Pinagge, because in the pen industry, Pinagge was completely unknown. So it was like to go back nearly 30 years. It was very, in one side, very, I'd say in English, very, competing, it was a bet, something that was not easy to conceive in the beginning, but it would look to me like to be young again, 30 years old, with a lot of ideas about making a good pen. But now, this time, I got the experience to make it properly. And in Pinagge, there is, a way to say that pens are doing well because Dante is not listening to anybody. And this time I have to say it is true. I did exactly without listening to anybody. So I have to say that Pinagge gave me carte blanche, to do really what I wanted. And I created, the model, the theme, the story, whatever you can imagine, including the nib itself that I designed personally. And I have to say, guys, to run a company and be the designer is a big headache because every day you have a problem with employee, with tax, with the administration, with payment, with financial. Now I can really all day just think about pens, and probably I was lucky that my American friends really considering me like one of them, including you, Tony, and nearly everybody supported me in Pinagge by my creation, my way of life, or my way of making pens. And it's a little bit different from any other, but my creativity always was at disposal of you guys that you love pen like me. And I have to say that my work in Pinagge was very successful. In less than 5 years, I took a brand nearly unknown anywhere in the world from 0 to 50,000 pens sold per year.
Wow.
50,000 pens. And practically in 5 years, I brought Pinagge to the same level of Visconti in number of pieces sold. A little bit less in collectible pens, but on that way I was just realizing that Pinagge was a new brand. I couldn't make the same thing I was doing in Visconti. So my strategy changed a little bit. Anyhow, I don't need to tell you that together with a number of new pens, I have a lot of exciting limited edition on my bag, already designed, already sitting in the portfolio of Pinagge, and a lot of nice, interesting things, probably more than what the market can take. But as I was used to say, Rome was not done in one day. So I'm glad that the pen department in Pinagge is doing very, very well. And all my friends around the world, they confirm their friendship and their trust in myself. That is always pleasing when you are not young anymore. And this year, I have to tell you, Tony, I stopped racing also.
No.
Yeah, yes.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I got an accident in June. I broke my knee, and still now I cannot walk properly. And was a bad accident, a long recovering time. So I said to Carla, make Carla happy. Said, Carla, I will stop now. There is no more time to try again. And but anyhow, this taught me everything as an end. Even if it's something I loved a lot, after 16 years, I stopped.
I never was your passion. I'm sorry, Dante. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took very seriously, but it's a sport. It's just fun. Should not affect my life.
Yeah,
but I have to tell you that my creativity even improved, because now I have a lot of time, even more, to put on pens.
Honestly, Mark and I would talk. I'm sorry, Tony. Honestly, Mark and I would talk more about racing with Dante than we did with pens, to be quite honest. Every time we encountered him. Yeah, we go way back, long before I even thought about becoming a pen dealer, just a collector. It used to come to the Philly show, with Coles, representing the brand then, yeah.
I remember. But anyhow, we are here to talk about pens. Racing is a passion, great passion, but it's like fun. I can say a big sportsman, because I have been, snowboarding, skiing, tennis player, and a biker, bicycle, whatever, I still do 50 kilometers per day by bike, and often I go to the office by cycling. So this is very funny, and I like very much. But about pens, I think with the Back to the Future, I opened a new kind of pens that I never designed before, that is so-called design and modern pens, even if the inspiration is taken from an old pen, from an old tool, not pen, because the Back to the Future is inspired from the Calamus. And today I'm designing, a new pen that will be called Modern Times, from the movie of Sherlock. And again, is something completely new, never seen ever in any kind, either expensive or cheap pen. And this is really gives me, a lot of my accomplishment, my creativity, and it's fun.
I think Dante, that one of the things I noticed about you in previous interviews, if you've all watched interviews with Dante, is that you don't just make a pen and say that this pen is going to be made to look this way. It has a story attached to it, to your designs. You have a history, and it ties to something in life. And I think that's what I appreciate about all of your pens, is because they're not just turned on a lathe and just sold. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that in your case, you do put yourself into those pens, and a history and some kind of a story with those pens.
Tony, you know me very well.
Yeah.
The fun is not to make a new pen, but tell a story through the pen, how the pen was conceived, what the design is about. And this is probably the thing that excites me the most. Probably the thing that I hate the most, to make the pens under order. It's sometimes, even in Visconti, several times happened to me, there is a pen for this occasion or the other occasion, so you have to squeeze your brain for something, that is not your choice. And but when you think you have an inspiration by looking something, that is most of the time that I create pens, and can be, an old tool, can be squaring the circle, of the Leonardo da Vinci, when I created the square pens, or any other occasion. Divine Proportion was a great, reason. Most of the Pinagge pens are really made more to be functional, to give them a good daily product. But this, again, seems to be easy. It's even more difficult to give to somebody a good daily pen that doesn't look like anybody else, and it should be personal of this or the other company. This is very, very exciting. And sometimes even you have to squeeze your brain much more to create something that is common, that should be, a flagship. Think the Avatar. The Avatar was an old idea that I used in Visconti until 2001. I redesigned the pen completely. Somebody remembers the Pericles. That was the first pen I made in 1988, the first of all. Together with the Ragtime. The Pericles were completely redesigned, modernized, and adapted to Pinagge, and now the Avatar is doing incredible. We have great sales, people happy, but don't forget that I invented the UR material, that is the ultra resin that makes the pen unbreakable. And for that kind of pen, it's so important to have a safe tool with you every day. If I was designing a pen of $2,000, I didn't care. They should be unbreakable. Because usually when you have a Ferrari, you don't drive your Ferrari in a rough way. You take care. And exactly what I think about an expensive pen. But if you have a daily pen, that should be able to go in the mountains or at the sea in the same way. And practically, this is the history of Pinagge. I started with something common. I refined my choice, my design with the Back to the Future, and the great beauty, and grande Tony. It's really, and now the new development with Pinagge would be to make even collectible pens, but not to make kings or poets or this, but something that also the theme should be very different from any other. And now I'm revealing a part of my strategy. But Armand was the first. We talk about modern art, something that is completely new in the pen industry. So this is what I want to do. And I will design another 2 pens following the same theme. But there is a disaster called pandemic that just slowed me down a little bit, because actually in these 2 years of slow business, I was able to put together a number of ideas that if I release all together, people will not even be able to appreciate completely. So give time to time and look forward. You know, I am still always worried about the future of pens, because I see that we are a niche of people who love pens. But never say never. Goulet is the example how it's possible to bring new people into pens, like the millennials and the new, I think they call it the Z generation or something like that. I'm not even sure exactly. But when these people come to pen, they really discover a world that nearly forgot. And me, they am 65 years old. I know very well what we're talking about. Anyhow, you know, I think this is a bit where we are at. We know that you know, I'm working on different kind of materials and things that are very interesting for the future. But we are going to bring expensive pen very soon, unfortunately. But after the pandemic, I have to say that some material even tripled. And not only here. I saw the port of Los Angeles full of ships waiting to unload their cargoes, and in Italy is exactly the same. Now we have the problem of the green pass and this COVID, you know, that we hope to be out soon. And when we will be out, we are able to restart, let's say, you know, something more, say, fresh, and hoping to recover. A lot of people has problem in Italy, as you can imagine. Industry not doing well, government cannot protect everybody, and whatever. But we look forward. If you guys have some questions for me that are, you think my answer can be interesting.
Larry?
Mr. Dante, I got a question for you, because some people have been asking, are you ever going to come out with a starting pen at a to them affordable level so they can buy your pens?
I can tell you that I made for Pinagge. First of all, when you talk to me, you talk to a man that is the icon of made in Italy. Every single part of Pinagge is not made anywhere else than in Italy. So all the molding, you know, parts, plating, you know, I can say only the nibs comes from Germany, from Bock. That is my historical suppliers. Now I can say 35 years of business together when I was young and still with the same company. So Bock for me is, you cannot substitute Bock. I made with the Metropolis an attempt to go in a very, very reasonable price. The problem of those inexpensive pens that very rarely are made in Western, you know, countries. You know that the history of some makers that moved from the States to Ireland and now to China, you know, or in the other way, you must have a mass distribution. I mean, very, very capillarity, you know, distribution, like Pilot. Pilot is present all over the world. They can thing to produce mass production pens. I would be able to make a mass production pen if I was working for another company. But for Pinagge, it makes no sense. The brand is not even covering all the countries that supposed to be covering in the world, because the COVID has stopped our export right in the moment that was more successful. Because when I was in the States at the end of 2019, I would say 2020, I came back and they shooted me at the airport with the temperature, to check my temperature. That was absolutely a moment that the sales of Pinagge were growing tremendously. But 2020, we have been doing not that much. This year, the sales are doing fine. But when you try to open a new market, all the people are desperate. In Japan, I have a partner that I know since 15 years. So very big company, good people, but the sales are what they are. So you cannot pretend to start working, for example, in many countries or in China, because everything now is going slowly. Mm-hmm. So the point is, if I really want to make an expensive pen, if this is the question, I say, yes, I can, but I don't see any need.
Mm-hmm. Right. That makes sense.
I just want to remind you an example of an American company called Parker. When I was just a young guy, 2000, only 2 years of old company. So 1990, I invested in the limited edition, or let's say nearly invented the limited edition, nearly, but surely of the modern age, I was the first. I started to produce celluloid expensive pens. At that time, Montblanc really looked my example, and after 3 years, produced the Uffizi. It was 1992 or 93, exactly. And the Hemingway was just the year before. At the same time, Parker was looking to the big mass production. Look the difference. Where is Montblanc now and where is Parker now? This is, I think, something that should be in the eyes of everybody. And believe me, Parker, for me, was the best company ever. But they just invested in the wrong market. Right. In 1990, the market of mass production was already disappearing because only 10 years after Mr. Steve Jobs killed us, the man who killed the pen makers or the pens is Apple, because he told people not to use the pen, but use the finger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like to give him the finger, but anyway.
Anyhow.
I'm just kidding.
Fingers, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Dan?
Yes, I just had a question, sir. First of all, thank you for being on. We've all been looking so forward to hearing from you and meeting you. But I had a question about the nibs. Do you foresee that Pinagge will begin making their own nibs in the near future?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because, first of all, I know the technology. Visconti is trying to do something like that, but he's an expertise that I don't think is really necessary. First of all the nib maker in the world wants to have Pinagge as a customer. We are an important customer for Bock. We give them a lot of business. But I have to tell you, Japanese wish to sell their nibs, and Japanese makes excellent nibs. And in my point of view, the nibs are a big headache if you don't have one important, thing in your bag, that is experience. You cannot buy experience in the market. So you should even hire somebody that was making nibs before for many years. And I I don't want to talk about Visconti, but I've seen the problem they got making their own nibs. And there is, in my point of view, no convenience to make it. Because to reach an acceptable quality takes too much time.
Mm.
This is a choice that already made in Visconti when I was the CEO of Visconti, said, no, it's not worth to start making nibs, because there are also excellent nib makers around the world that they ask for business.
Mm-hmm.
Iovo in Berlin is an excellent nib maker. I know them since 20 years. I am a faithful guy, so I was always staying with Bock, but because the relationship with the family was so strong. But at the same time, I know Platinum or Sailor or Pilot. Everybody can make nib if I ask them to do. And also I know Atul Charla in India. He's making steel nib. He asked me to supply the gold to start making gold nibs. I don't think it's really important, especially when I have a company like Bock that is listening to my, creations. The kill nib of Pinagge is no doubt made in 4 hands, 2 of my hands and 2 of Bock hands. Without their cooperation, it was not possible to make the nib. Mm-hmm. And the several samples that they sent to me, and I corrected this good, this bad, this good, this bad, and so on. Like any new thing where there is not a mass, I would say a mass knowledge. It's much easier to make a car than to make a nib today. Because wherever you go, everybody can make cars. Italians can make good cars, Americans, Germany, Chinese, even Chinese can make a good car now. But if you look around the world, who can make good nibs? 3, 4 all over the world? Come on. And there is no market to make that more wide. So once again, the biggest problem is the market, not manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Wow. We know Pinagge being a paper company since the 17 or 1600s of making paper, correct, Dante?
Absolutely. Pinagge.
And how long have they been making pens? I mean, because before you came along, I only recognized one pen. It was a Visconti pen made for Pinagge. You made a pen while you were Visconti for Pinagge. Why don't you talk about this? So you've had this connection with them for a while.
Pinagge is considered to be the most important paper maker of Florence. And they are in that place since 300 years.
Right.
Therefore, Pinagge was not making pens independently. They had many pen makers to make pens for them since hundreds of years, because I saw a pen made in nearly 1920, if I remember well, and one more in even the 18th century, just a few times after, Waterman. So I saw samples of these pens, but Pinagge was a store, basically. So they sold their stock as supposed to be. What they never wanted to have their own production of pens that I was able to bring in with my knowledge. So basically, when I started in Pinagge, I was bringing them, the know-how to produce a pen from A to Z of any price level. This, I think, was very appreciated. Now, if I leave Pinagge, they can do what I did, but because I told them with drawings, production, and even I told them how to pack the pens. When I came to Pinagge, there was no know-how how to ship pens, quality control, all these things. were slowly developed in the first few years.
Mhm.
It was very exciting, I have to say, because you can build something, as you want. Now I have in Pinagge 2 people that works with me, and they are able to make their own color choice or this, start the production, stop, reorder. They don't need me anymore for the daily work. Practically now I'm basically at 90% a pen design.
Wow, that's good.
The problem is not to design a good pen. The problem is to understand which pen sells and do not sell. This they cannot replace with another Dante so easily.
When you figure out, let Frank know, because Frank sells pens of his company, and I'm sure you'd love to know that, wouldn't you, Frank?
I was called, Tony, from many brands to work with them, but I'm lazy. And Pinagge is 20 minutes of bicycle away from my home. With my motorcycle is only 6-7 minutes. I go very fast. You know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, for everyone here that has never been to Florence, and it's one of my favorite cities I've ever been to, it is inspiring. I could see how you could get inspiration living in Florence, around Florence. That's just a beautiful, beautiful city, and it is inspiring.
I just was, Eddie Coleman, Airline International. His son and his son just married. They came to me and spent a few days with me, some sightseeing, relaxing, no pens, no business, just enjoy an old friend, very old, probably my first American friend. I'm saying about friend, not business. It's different.
Right.
Especially for an Italian, it's a big difference.
Yeah, and looks like Tony, our friendship, Mark, with Dante actually goes beyond pens. I told you I first met Dante, I think at the 07-08 Philly Pen Show. And about 2012, I told you the idea that I was thinking about, becoming a pen dealer. And you told me, you were running Visconti, of course, then. You told me if I opened a store, you would be there, but lo and behold, by the time that I did open the store and I did get rolling, you were, great. You were telling me, you told me what was happening, and you were moving on to bigger and better things with Pinagge and all, which is great. And you've done tremendous. And I'm real happy for you. You deserve everything.
I have more time to visit friends. I'm so busy to run Visconti. Now I can really enjoy. I was told in Pinagge that the next contract I will be brand ambassador.
Thank you.
So it looks that they don't want to let me to go to pension.
Don't trust you at pen shows anymore. Now I've seen you with the Jaffa guys over at pen shows for Pinagge, which is tremendous, and we're getting back to pen shows here in the States. So next year we should have a full schedule. So hopefully
I will be there.
Very good, very good. Very good.
I share a great friendship with Ken Jones, and also as well with Yair.
Of course.
And you will be some surprises next year about Jaffa, but I cannot tell you anymore.
Do it.
That's awesome. Hey, Dante, I got a pen question that people have been asking about rollerballs. Pinagge, you manufacture a rollerball? Is it strictly fountain?
Yes. So what is the question, Tony?
About is that right, Larry? You were wanting to know about rollerballs?
Well, no, I thought you were saying you were going to ask Dante.
No. No, my question for Dante wasn't about rollerballs, but it was more or less as far as overlays. I became a big fan of overlays due to some of your work with with Visconti. Well, some of a lot of the pens that I own have overlays that I've always appreciated, and some of the faceted pens that you made with the rounding the square, the Opera Master, the Wall Street, very comfortable.
And the ripple edition. You remember how many ripples we made?
Mm-hmm.
With overlay, I have a project just based on the pen that you like so much, that is Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I made an overlay with that pen, but as I tell you, I have so many projects on the go that we need to take time to release them properly.
Sure.
I like to make overlays. Now, the problem for me is only a question of releasing some pens every year, not too many pens.
Right.
Now, if you know the Armand, I'm now working on a new Armand that is giving more, let's say, more evidence to the overlay and less to the technical of the mystery filler. So, so it will be always a mystery filler, but not cut out, just reworked a little bit. And I think you're going to like that very much because it's a very nice overlay.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit different from those
I don't want to
in
bring that
Visconti.
up.
This
I
is
don't want to bringing the name up, but I forgive me because I have to say it one time. You know, every time I see a Visconti fountain pen, it automatically, the name comes Dante in my mind because you are the Greek god, the Italian god of Visconti, and you always will be, my friend. You know, no one can ever take that away. You made what it is today, and you took this beauty that you developed and you passed it on to Pinagge now. So all this beauty and wisdom is going into your Pinagge pens, you know? So how do you, I mean, you can't put a value on that because it's you, your thoughts, your creations, your dreams, your enthusiasm, everything goes into this, right? So yeah, $800-900 for a pen, I can dig it.
I have to tell you, Larry, that in 2017, the worst year in my life was 2016 because I lost my creation. This is clear. And in 2017, I really changed it. You know, I was 60 years old and I changed my life. Really changed because to work with Pinagge in my life was the first time I was working for somebody. Because all my life I only work for myself. And this, I'm very proud of that. And to work for Pinagge, but not as an employee, because I'm a contract. So they can cancel they could have canceled my contract whenever they wanted. Now is 5 years, and they just renewed my contract for another year. So it looks that, you know, I was quite successful as to be, you know, working for somebody else. But at the same time, in 2017, I realized I couldn't use the same ideas I got in Visconti because I was working for a different company. Something can be the same as the symbol of a pen, it is the clip, and was the bridge for Visconti and the feather for Pinagge. This is easy. Mm-hmm. But then you realize that when you go and sell something, you know, you have to think with another idea. Exactly, Tony. Okay. And I realized this when I came the first time to the States as, you know, Pinagge representative, and in Pinagge they couldn't believe I came back with $500,000 of pen sold. And when I was in Drungos, you know, is Larry.
Houston, yeah.
Larry gave me a knife. I say, I know that you have a passion for knife. Honestly, it was not true, but I like knife, but I don't have a passion for knife. Take one, because the sales were so big They wanted to give me the best, the most expensive knife they got in stock. And I like this, because it's a nice way, very soft, very Western, to say thank you to somebody for the nice says. And I realize how people believe me and they like me. Think about when I sent my the letter that I was talking with Visconti, I received 500 letters in 2 days from all over the world. People couldn't believe. Say, who is so foolish that you think you should not work for Visconti? Come on. And from Harvard, there is a professor who's teaching marketing in Harvard. He wrote me, I said, this is the biggest mistake they could ever done. And from a marketing teacher of Harvard, I think they could have been, quite, good position to say what they said.
I wonder if this is what Paul McCartney felt like when Michael Jackson purchased his catalog and owned his songs that he created, and he had no control over the songs that he created until he was able to get them back. I think about that as you left Visconti, and then you saw your creations were your babies. You left there, and you had to move on. And all due respect for them. I see a lot of they're taking your models that you created and changing colors, and I don't see a lot new that's coming out from them as far as design. But I just thought I brought that up.
Or whatever, life is life, and sometimes it's very strange.
Yeah. Lisa.
Yes. Okay, I have like a million questions, so we're going to try to keep this, whatever.
Okay. Lisa, you have 5 hours. Go ahead.
I know, right? That's what I need. Okay. My first question is this. With the quill nibs, is there any chance that y'all will ever go back to offering both the quill nib and the old nib?
First, Jovo is another nib maker. He's not making the kill nib. Bock is making the kill nib.
Right. But what I'm talking about is, will you go back to the old nibs on like the sunset red?
Yeah, this is a standard nib from Bock. So right. I like to differentiate whatever I do. I don't like to make what is already in the market.
Okay.
But I have to tell you a little secret. For China, we had to go back to this nib, exactly the one that you have in your hands, just because they want to have a stiff nib.
Right.
To write Chinese, I cannot write Chinese. I don't know if you can, but I can for sure. And they said that it's better to write Chinese, while the Japanese tell me that it's better they kill nib to write Japanese. So don't blame me. But
okay.
We produce 500 nibs for China, just that kind. So
right.
If the market, and mostly this depends from Ken Jones or Ray Ayer, they tell me that there is a need to have a stiff nib, no problem to make.
Right.
This is just something that that the good things do not fit always everybody, especially when we're talking about writing. There is nothing more special, more personal than the writing. So if you like to have a soft nib and another man likes to have a stiff nib, of course, I cannot make both.
Right.
Just probably but in case you don't know, I tell you, Eversharp in 1930 something, 33, 34, they was making the personal point with 14 different kind of nibs. Not only nib point, but different nibs.
Right.
And what there is more personal than writing. Unfortunately, I have to say that there is no more the need to make such. I would like to tell you who really writes with the writes. First of all, only who really writes with a fountain pen? This is the big question.
Okay, so my next question is, I read somewhere that actually if you get the broad nib, that it's not as soft as the smaller sizes. Is that true, or is it?
Look, it's true. First of all, you know, a broad point or a stub nib do not need to be so flexible. Really, an italic nib really is more rigid than any other nib. So, and this was a suggestion of Bock. So it's not coming from my mind, but from Bock expertise. They suggested not to cut the slit of the nib until the hair hole. So if you check the kill nib or the stub nib, the cut just stops 1 or 2 millimeters before the hair hole. This makes the front part of the nib much more, you know, stable, and this helps for a broad point that has more friction in the paper. And most of all, they give a much more, let's say, around 20% stiff nib. You know, we checked the difference with the machine by pressing the nib into the scale and see how many grams you need to flex it to a certain extent. And roughly, this is around 20% different, more stiff. But really, I don't think, and if you write with a stub nib, you really need to press.
Right. Okay, so my last question is, tell us about the Alchemist, because I have one on the way and I haven't touched it yet. So tell us all about it.
This is a good question. You know, Ken Jones was asking me to make a pen with lava. And I hate to make the same things. And I don't want to touch anything I did in before with Visconti. Also because, you know, it's a part of my life. So you can understand that I respect and I love what I did for another company. It's not my company anymore, but this doesn't matter. But still, I have a request from the market to make something different with a different feeling. So the lava concept was used, so I couldn't use anymore. And in my research of lava, I discovered zeolite or zeolite. I don't know how to say in English.
You said it.
Zeolite is, I discovered it absolutely casually. And when I learned more what is the material about, I said, my gosh, we are in front of the philosopher's stone. No, really a material that is good for everything. You can use to benefit with your body. You can eat, it really purifies your body. It's good to clean water, to make drinkable water from salt water, from the sea. It's good to feed animals. They add 30% of zeolite in the animal food, and they get 40% less disease.
Wow.
And even more, you know, for your cat or for your aquarium. It cleans the aquarium water from the dirt of the fish. It cleans the swimming pool. I said, my gosh, this is incredible, this material. And together with the guy who made the UR material, that is a chemical, I said, Tiziano, we have to work out something from this powder. And I bought in Amazon the material, so easy. There are 45 different types of zeolite. Some are not for human, you know, feeding. Some are only for humans because are purified and so on. They really are good for food, you know. And we found at the end a good material, one of the 45 different types, that gives us a nice grip. Because my idea was to make a pen with something that is friendly not eco-friendly, friendly to be human-friendly. So you can use it touching something that is one of the things that can help your life. Of course, this is not happening that if you write a lot with that pen, you will not get the COVID or whatever. You know, you will never be able to recover from a flu writing with the pen. This is not the point. But I think it was, again, a nice marketing to make a pen that is different. I make the first prototypes, and I was showing to some friends that have the Homo sapiens in their collection here in Florence. And all of them, they told me one thing that is very important. Dante, this is the evolution of the Homo sapiens. This is the next. If you take the two pens and you touch all of them, they don't look the same. That was exactly my purpose. My idea was to make more elegant, not so rough like the Homo sapiens, that originally was made a pen really coming from the ground, very, you know, HD, heavy duty. The zeolite is like a pen of a doctor compared to the pen of a farmer. If I'm able to tell you in the right English. Because when you take the Alchemist is an elegant pen, like I expect to be from an alchemist. So in few words, once again, I put together a good material, a nice design, and a good story behind. They should not go, I take this or the other. You can take both if you like. You can take an Homo sapien and add to your collection a Alchemist and see where is the difference, because there is a big difference between the two pens. Otherwise, I have the formula of the lava. I don't need to go and get mad to invent all the story to make something new. I was making a Pinagge by lava. There is no patent, nothing. Anybody can do a pen out of lava if they want. And if they do the research I did in 2010 when I invented the material.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You can imagine how fun it is for me to invent all this, create the marketing, and to do what? To have people like you that enjoy my pens and my creation. And most of the people that wrote me about the Alchemist, they wrote me, Dante, you did it again. So this is very nice to hear.
Larry?
Mr. Dante, are you planning, or when are you planning for your next new pen to come out? And how often are you going to have new pens come out?
Well, this also depends from the Pinagge people. Just to let you know how I work there, you know, I have them to make a yearly plan. I make all the models. Actually, they have around, in the last 5 months, I designed 4 new pens, brand new, 4. And also, I make pens different price points. I have made now a jewelry collection, very high end, with the beautiful box. Probably you saw the Psycho. A Psycho is absolutely a pen that is targeting to a very, very high end. And at the same time, in the same year, we released also the Metropolis, that was probably, you know, the cheapest pen I ever made. Or if you prefer, the less expensive. So in November, usually end of November, early December, we have all the plan 2022 already made. So basically, every year there is space for 3 or 4 new products, no more.
Okay.
I think I answered your question quite detailed.
Look, I have another question that I forgot from before.
You got to give her extended time. Okay.
Look, it's a quick one, I promise.
I hear you.
What is the deal with limited editions being 888? Is there some kind of significance to that?
Yeah, sure. It's easy. This is make me a more difficult question. This is too easy to answer. To say with Woody Allen, tell me something that you always wish to know and nobody ever told you.
But I don't know, and that's why I'm asking.
It's very easy. It's a Chinese number. 8 is meaning the I would say infinity. Is the symbol of infinity, and 888 means 3 times life, good life. In China, in their Kabbalah, is 3 and 8 are very, very lucky numbers. 3 means fortune, 8 means good life, health. Okay. So if you take that 888 is 3 times 8, so it means fortune and health. But if you want to sell to China, you should not make number 4, that means death. Number 7, also very bad.
I don't want number 4.
When we ship to China, or to the Far East in general, even to Japan, even if number 7 in Japan has no meaning, but 3 and 8, we sell number 8, number 3, number 88, number 58, number 83, 383.
Oh, Mr. Dante, that doesn't mean that it's only going to be 888 pieces, right?
Yes. Yes.
I always thought that. What number did you get? Oh, I got number 1. Okay, so.
No, usually now the numbers are even smaller. 800 pens. I put the number of 800 only if I make, let's say, a pens like Arco. The Pinagge Arco, we have finished the edition. Now it's sold out. I think we are only left 50 pens. Then it's finito. It's done. But usually for more expensive pen, we rather prefer to stop in lower numbers, not go too high like that, because I think for an expensive pen, this numbering are too high. I like to stop at 38 or 88 that are good number for an expensive, reasonable.
That's why.
Okay.
That makes sense now. Thank you, Lisa, for that good question that we.
I promise I'm not asking anymore. I swear. That's it.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Dante, if you want a more difficult question, explain how women can understand men and men can understand women. That's a good one. That's a good question, right?
It's not a good question. It's a question with no answer. Different. It's a question with no answer.
You can answer. That's right.
So, Mr. Dante, how's that bonding going with you and Pinagge? I'm sure there has to be a lot of excitement going on there, isn't there?
About what? About pens?
About you and Pinagge getting together now as a team.
I have to tell you, in the beginning, we didn't love me too much because I have my own idea.
Okay.
I was not very flexible.
Okay.
For at least 3 years, I was very, very tough in my idea without accomplishing or having anything of my ideas changed. Now I'm much more flexible. They are learning more, and now the owner of Pinagge, he told me, Dante, now compared from a few years ago, you are, a pleasure to work with you. So think about how tough I was 3 or 4 years ago.
Your wife used to work with you at Visconti, correct?
Yes.
Dante, is she working also with Pinagge or?
No. There is no space for 2 of us in Pinagge.
Yeah.
And also Carla was making a lot of PR work in Visconti, and now we have an agency making this in Milan.
Oh, okay.
And Carla is helping some friends, the Duchessa, they're making some nice pens. So she's working with her beautiful handwork. And also she made a pen for one of my old customers in Visconti. Now he moved to Pinagge. Now he made a pen for Vallecchi. That I made several pens for Vallecchi in Visconti. Now she made a pen called, 150 years, Rome anniversary, and was very successful. We are very happy about. But from time to time, she always helps me at home, of course. Is my first consultant. My friend in Monte Carlo that put me in touch with the Prince Albert. He used to come here and tell me, Dante, how is your government? He calls Carla my government. And I guess you at home you have the same situation.
That's funny.
Now my government is asking me if we're going to have dinner this evening or not.
Oh, that's right. It's time to eat over there. So should we ask a few any more questions before Dante?
The restaurant is going to be closed very soon in Florence.
I know.
Make it happen now.
Any last questions for Dante? Because it's time for dinner there.
Yes.
Roy, anybody?
Well, okay, we're going to go ahead and close it. So, Mr. Dante, it's been an honor, for real.
Can I say?
You don't
That's
understand.
an honor, a pleasure.
Sei stato grande, amico mio. Ti ringraziamo per questo tempo che sei stato con noi.
Okay,
That's in Italian.
Escucho.
È stato un piacere stare con voi, ragazzi. Ci vediamo negli States la prossima volta.
All right, you'll see us the next time he comes. That's right.
Yeah.
All right,
see each other.
Dante, it's been an honor, pleasure. Thank you so much, my friend. Stay healthy.
Tony, thanks for organizing this.
Dante, Mr. Pinagge himself. All right.